Hey everyone, I'm Polo back with some more League things. Today we're just going to be doing a quick little wall jump tutorial for newer players. I know I did a similar video last season, but since there's been a lot of newer players for Kindred in Season 11, I figured I would do this since all the buffs and stuff happened. If you do enjoy this kind of series and this little kind of short videos of tutorials, let me know in the comments and like the video, and I will be doing more of them if it's what you guys want to see. So pretty much basics of a wall jump is you need to go over a certain portion of the wall to actually be able to jump the wall. If you don't go over a certain portion of it, you'll just faceplant. So obviously you guys probably should know, and if you don't know, I mean, this is something you should know. Obviously these thin walls, you can easily just queue over them. There's no struggle doing it. Like you can do it to like all the thin walls. You should be able to obviously know that. Like they're simple, you just queue over those walls like that and there's no problem. What a lot of people don't know is for a lot of the thicker walls on the map, there's places you can queue over those as well, but you have to line up in a certain part of the wall to do it. So for example, I'll show you all the harder wall jumps that I personally know, and again, some of them are harder and I don't do them often, so I'll probably faceplant once or twice, but I will show you them. So one of them that's really interesting to me is this one right here. If you just walk up to this wall, you can't queue through it. It's just a pain. You go over here, you don't queue through it. It just doesn't work. But one of the interesting things is there's one part of this wall where if you walk up to it, like right here, you start clipping through the wall, and then if you put your mouse on this crack on the wall here, you can actually queue through that one point of it. The little thing that can actually help you when you're running through the jungle, kite somebody. I haven't been able to do it reverse. Like I can't get it to work reverse. I'm sure it does work. I just don't know where you queue through that part. It's very weird, but it only works on this wall particularly. It doesn't work on the opposite side of the map. Like for example, if I go down here, doesn't work. There's no point where you clip through the wall enough that I found that lets you do it. You can queue through the corner, but you can't queue over the actual wall, like the flip side of the map. A very strange wall jump, but it does work, and it's really interesting. I do recommend going to practice tool for like 15 minutes and learning these wall jumps, because they will help your gameplay a lot in a lot of like situations where you're trying to escape. But I'm going to show you guys the red wall jump now on the bottom side, red side. So all you have to do for this one, it's very simple. You just walk up to this wall and then you'll start clipping through the wall. You see my character's clipping through it. You then just take your mouse and put it up here between these two trees in this dark area. And once your mouse is right there, you just queue and you'll go through the wall, no questions asked, no problem. The flip side of this is very easy too. You walk up to this little log right here, and you pretty much walk up to the log up to the point where you're like not quite under it, but close enough to being under it. I try to aim for the tip of the smallest, and then you just put your mouse right here on this crack and queue, and boom, you're over it, vice versa. Simple, not hard to do, and it works pretty well. Obviously, I'm sure you guys probably know you can also queue over this portion like you can on the other side of Raptors, and same with this part of Raptors, just queue over the thin part of the wall. None of those are hard to do. I'm sure you know about those. If you don't, well, now you do. Now, one more wall jump on this side of the map that's a pain to do for the most part, because it's really inconsistent from my experience, is jumping this wall right here. You can jump this wall on both sides of the maps. They're thicker walls, but you can jump them. So for this one, I try to line up and get in the crack like that, like that's on the side of the wall. And I try to put my mouse like around these two splinters that are coming out of the wall right here. You see these two, how they're kind of coming out. I try to put my mouse around here and queue, and you should go through the wall pretty easily, and you can do it like reverse. But the reverse side's really finicky for me. I've tried it a lot to line it up perfectly, and as you can see, even if I'm spamming it, it's weird. It's a very weird one. This is one I don't like to do in reverse because I don't know exactly where to position. I've tried to find out and I've tried to get it consistent, but I've never been able to get this one consistent after so long of trying. From what I can gather, you kind of essentially need to run up to it to where this tree is and try to start getting to the point where you're like really into the tree. And then put your mouse somewhere around this general area. I try to aim for the edge of this branch, and it works like 50% of the time. Like it works right there, but it doesn't consistently work for me, which is very, very weird. But that wall jump does exist if you know it. And the flip side, the top side red side, in my opinion, the top side red side is a little bit weirder to line up with. I'm not a big fan of this one, mainly because for me, I just suck at this one. But what I like to do is try to kind of like, you see these little blades of grass that are sticking out right here. I try to path into the top of the biggest blade of grass, and take my mouse and put it over here on this tombstone over here, and queue, and boom, you get over the wall on that side. Try to do it on the right side of this tombstone. That's where I normally aim it, and it works fine. Then the flip side is a little bit weird. You just come and stand under this branch. You can't really see where you're lining up again, which is why I don't like this one. and then I try to put my mouse right here on the edge of the raptor rock and Q, and you get over the wall like that very too if you line it up perfectly. But again, it can be very weird to line that one up. And then like I said, you can jump this big wall right here on both sides of the map. So for this one, you kind of walk into the wall, and this one's a little bit easier to line up, in my opinion, than the other sides. You kind of just want to get into the wall like that. And then I go for the left tombstone. I try to go for the tip of it, Q, and I failed because, you know, happens. And now that we're in the wall, Q, there we go. There we go. Yeah. So you go over the wall, and then this bottom side is a little weird to line up again because it's just a weird area. Try to do this, and then I try to aim my mouse for the top of one of these trees, and sometimes I get it over, other times I struggle and I faceplant like 10 times like you see now. It's a very weird one. I guess the like the best thing I could say about these ones is the ones that like you can see where you're positioning are much easier than the ones where you can't see where you're positioning, because obviously it's very like weird, but it works once you practice them. Like it does. You just kind of gotta get used to them. Like you have to get really up in the wall, because you can see when I'm doing this one too and it's not going over the wall, you can see that my character is getting closer and closer to the wall, because it means you're not in the exact point of the wall that's the deepest into it. And see, like right there, it gets a little bit further in, and then you'll keep getting a little bit further in each time you queue until you actually go over it. So that means you're not positioned in the exact right spot, but it can be hard because you can't see the reverse of that wall, so it's hard to know exactly where to position for it. Other basic stuff, just simple stuff now, because there's not really any other huge wall jumps that I think are major to know, is obviously when you're doing barren wall jumps, the thinnest part of the wall is the point to go in, and it matters the angle you have your mouse through the wall. You might end up face planting the wall if you're not careful. Like if you walk over the wall here and you don't pay attention to where your mouse is, and you have your mouse kind of diagonal, you're not going to go over the wall, you're going to face check it. And if you're slightly too far back and you try, you're going to just face check it too. You want to make sure you're right up on the wall as far as you can be before you just queue over it. That's pretty much the main things. Then blue side is pretty simple. I mean, I'm sure you guys know how to do blue side wall jumps. There's nothing too big about it. You walk up to this wall behind it and go through the thin part of the trees, vice versa. You walk up to these walls, you look for the thinnest part of this wall when you're jumping through it, and then you just go over it pretty simply. It's pretty much all there really is to these blue side wall jumps. You can obviously go over that. You can do the same for running away or catching people out through the back of this wall. Nothing really super big about this side. There's not, as far as I know, any fancy wall jumps from this side of the map. Same with the other side. The other side is a little bit harder in my opinion, because some of these walls feel like they're a little bit thicker on this side, but you can still queue over it. You just have to find the right spot. Like doing it, like you just have to find out exactly where you want your mouse. But it's the exact same thing essentially. You just go over there, like you find a thin spot, queue, thin spot, queue. Same with behind the pit, you know, just go behind the trees and just queue. It's pretty much all there is to really the blue side wall jumps. So I do hope you guys enjoyed this, a little bit about wall jumps and the harder red side wall jumps. If you did, let me know down below what you think of me doing a little smaller, you know, basics for Kindred and stuff. And if you like it, I'll do more. But I will see you guys later. Goodbye.